Welcome back, all my crafty friends, to Lamas Creations DIY. My name is Tammy. Today I am participating in the Bloom with Grace, and this month's theme is roses. It is hosted by Brenda from Monner's Market, and co-host is Sharon with Cheap to Chic. Let's start crafting. So taking this frame, I took it all apart, cleaned it all up. I used the glass on some Bristol board, and I just cut it out to fit inside the frame and onto the glass. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint the Bristol board with my oatmeal chalk paint, and then I'm going to paint the frame with this Turkish tile. It's like a blue. Now what I'm using is some wax. I'm going to put a little bit on a lid, excuse me, and then using some sheepskin chalk paint, I'm going to just dab a little on my brush and mix it in. Dabbing off a little onto a piece of paper, and I'm going to run it all around the edge where all that beautiful design is. On the little bumpies and on that nice little design, just to help it pop out a little more. Then I took it outside and I gave it a good coat of clear matte spray paint. Taking some flowers that I printed off on just paper, and I wet my brush with some water. I'm going to go around the image, and then I'm going to tear it off with my fingers, giving it a nice wispy edge. I didn't want sharp cut lines, so I figured this is the best way to do it. Then, also using lettering that I printed off on my computer using Canva, I believe it was, I'm going to tape them all down, and I'm just using the flowers there as a guideline, and then sliding it under some carbon paper. I'm going to trace over my letters with a pen, transferring my letters onto my board. Removing all the paper, and my letters are nicely transferred. Next, using various markers in blue, paint markers, I'm going to go over all my lettering. Using some Mod Podge and that roses flower picture, there they are. I'm going to spread the Mod Podge on the back of the flowers, and then I'm going to apply it onto my little sign, and then I'm going to use some Mod Podge on top to adhere it down properly so none of those edges come up. Now it's time to put a hanger on the back before we put everything together. Using one of those little sawtooth hangers and some nails, I nail it in, add my hanger, and then we're going to put it all together. Adding some hot glue, I put in the glass. Then I add hot glue just to the edges, and I put in my sign. And then I hot glue the backing down, just to hold everything all together. Then I used a hand sander and sanded off any of the extra little paint that was on the back because I wanted it nice and clean. And when you're done that, this is done. So pretty. Flower market, beautiful roses. Next craft, another sign. Using this frame, it was in pretty bad shape, but I figured I could use it. Taking out all these little nails that were all around. I'm assuming it held in the glass or something, I don't know. But I took them all out with just a pair of pliers. And then using some Eileen's tacky glue and some hot glue, there was little nails on each of the corners, and I just glued and hammered them in to make this frame a little more sturdy. And I did it to all the corners. Then I painted the entire frame with my Java Home Decor chalk paint. Next, taking a backing from another frame, it was just laying around, and some scrapbooking paper, I'm going to flip it over, put the backing on top. Then using a ruler and I think I used a utility knife because I couldn't find my craft knife, I'm going to cut it out. And even though I had a ruler, I was still crooked. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hot glue it down on the top and the bottom just to secure it onto there. And then using my pencil, I'm going to pencil on my letters. I'm just going to freehand it. Kind of wish I wouldn't have, but it still looked okay. If you have a Cricut, you can use a Cricut. You can print it out and transfer it with carbon paper, any way you like. Using a metallic marker I got this from Craspire, I'm going to go over all my letters, and then I also color in the word yeah. Now it's time to put it all together. Adding some hot glue onto the top and the bottom. We're going to slide in our piece. We're going to give it a nice little hanger, just with some jute rope, tying a knot in both ends, gluing it down with some hot glue. Next, what I'm doing is taking another piece of scrapbook paper with roses on it and it's a pretty blue background. I'm going to cut it down with my paper cutter, 4 inches wide, and then 4 inches wide again. So you have 4 by 4 inch squares. Taking one of the squares, I'm going to fold it into quarters. And then I'm going to cut out kind of like a heart shape, but it's going to be petals. And I do that to all of the squares. Clip off the end, and then I open it up and I trim off one of the petals, but don't throw it away, keep it. I do some this way, I cut some in half, but I do this to all the little squares. I do bigger sizes, smaller sizes. Now taking a pencil, I'm going to round out each of the petals, giving them a little definition. Then taking a floral stick with a leaf on it, I'm going to start hot gluing them on. Starting with the single petals, I start with the first one and I hot glue it a little tight. And every one after that, I go a little bit looser and a little bit looser, hot gluing as I go. I continue with all the single petals until all those are gone. And then I start on the one with 2 petals. And I start again hot gluing and I keep on going, and every time I do another one, I loosen it just a little bit. And as I get to a certain thickness, I'll hot glue it and then I'll push it up a little bit and then hot glue it down to give the opening of the flower. And I continue doing this with all the rest of the petals that we cut out. My original plan for it didn't work out. I was going to try and build it a different way, but it wasn't working out, didn't look right, so I went with this way. And this is what it looks like. Now taking that rose, we're going to hot glue some jute rope onto the end. And I just hot glue and wrap it all the way down and then wrap it all the way back up. Clip it off, hot glue it into place. Then I take that rose, hot glue it to the frame, and then I hot glue the bottom of the rose down onto the paper. And this one is done. Yeah, that doesn't smell like roses. Good bathroom sign. I would like to thank Brenda and Sharon for hosting this challenge. It's always fun making decorations with flowers. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe, like this video, and don't forget that little bell. If you're a returning subscriber, hey, welcome back. I always appreciate you coming and supporting me. If you can all do me a favor, share this video as well. It is a free way to help support my channel and to help me to grow. Also, down in my description box, there is a link where you can buy me a coffee. It is not needed, you don't have to. But if you feel like you want to, please go ahead and do so. I hope everyone has a wonderful day. Bye.